welcome to Who Put This On, Season 5, Episode 26, where we watch Big Time RV, Season 1, Episode 2, and Going RV, Season 8, Episode 5. I'm Chris Lorenz.
This is Brian.
Robert Kitts.
Noah Singer.
This is VJ.
All right, if this is your first time joining us,
Whoa!
Max, no, Max.
What happens?
Max, you paused too long. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god!
I kind of zoned out, which is probably a theme for this episode.
That's okay. This is Big Time Max.
Sorry.
It wasn't that long of a pause.
No, that wasn't long of a pause.
Sorry, I just really wanted to get moving here.
We could tell.
If this is your first time joining, we tend to watch one episode of a reality show each week and go over in minute detail how good, bad, or indifferent we are about the show and episode we watched. So, Rob, why don't you tell us about the show we watched this week?
Yeah, so we got two show descriptions, and we got a drinking game of drink every time it says RV. So first we got RV experts at America's largest and most prestigious RV dealership assist RV lovers looking to rent or buy the biggest, most over-the-top RVs. That's Big Time RV on the Travel Channel.
Why don't
Up
we
to 4 drinks.
Why don't we just do this show and then do the next show?
We're going to talk about both shows.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way we're going to just stick to one show.
I have forgotten which one was which show, to be completely honest with
Fine,
you.
fine.
No.
I mean, the show description is fine for either, but tell us the other one.
All right. Hardworking couples and families decide to ditch ordinary daily life for an adventure out on the open road. Take the ultimate ride as they go on a shopping trip to find their perfect RV. Whether it's upgrading an existing motorhome or going all out for a new one with all the bells and whistles, find out what happens when daring homeowners trade walls for wheels. That's Going RV on Great American Country, whatever that is.
That's a good question.
Wait, that's not on Travel Channel?
It's greatamericancountry.com.
Yeah, I think what happened, it was initially on Travel Channel, and then it started to go on this Great American Country channel. And
How
that's
many
like something-
RV shows do you need? That's the question.
All the RV shows.
A lot.
There's way more that we
I
didn't
mean-
even watch.
There's two ways to look at it. You either need all of them or just one of them, because really they were the same show.
They were the same show, and it's let's so we saw a bunch of couples or people buying RVs, mostly people buying different looking at RVs and
They
picking.
were all people.
Well, sometimes there was a person, and sometimes there were people.
I think it was always two people going to, like, might have not been both purchasing. They were in every section, which there, I think, like in total we saw 5 sections. In every section, 2 people went to buy an RV. Maybe it was for both of them, maybe it was for one of them, and that's it.
Okay,
They were
maybe
not
you're
all
right.
couples.
I don't know.
They were all duos.
That's fair.
And
I
a
mean,
partner.
dad and the daughter. Like, I mean,
I think that
not
counts
the
as 2
person.
people.
Real person.
is she?
Chris, I
Is
don't
she?
know.
I don't know. I think you got to be over a certain height. I don't
I mean,
know.
she can't vote. So if that's your bar, then
You got to be able to buy alcohol. That's my
I mean,
bar.
Rob and I can't vote here either.
I didn't say that. I said that you had to be able to get a drink.
But you insinuated it.
What?
No.
That was Rob. Rob said that. I had nothing to do with that. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this first episode. Let's just sweep through. Let's go plot point by plot point. Get it over with.
Here's the
Move
plot.
on with our life.
Get it over with. People are tuning in for the hot takes. We got to go deep in the minutia.
We are getting into the minutia, Noah. All right, let's start with the high roller here. We got Angelo. He
Sarasota.
sold some sort of thing and is now a millionaire and wants to blow it on a stupid RV. So we see some baller RVs from this guy. We see a 45-foot 5 slides RV.
That's the cheapest one.
That was the cheapest one at $600,765. unclear why you need to include the $765 in your 600 grand RV, but it seemed important. It had, I don't have all the details for all of these, but it had a king size bed, 2 bathrooms, but it had a 36-inch plasma on the outside, which shows you how old this episode was because they don't sell plasmas anymore. So,
well, my understanding is that all the RVs that were shown to the baller, I don't know. I guess this is a question. Were they all used? Because the nicest one was definitely talked about used. The other two, I feel like they didn't explicitly say.
They didn't say.
No, they were clear that the last one was also used because they said it was half the price of a new one.
Yeah, that was the only
I
one.
knew the last one was used. I don't know if the first two were used.
No, the first one they also said was used. So the second one is the only one they were unclear, but I assume that all 3 are used based on the price escalation.
2014, they're selling this used RV. Maybe it's like 5 years old. So like that makes sense for the TV size and stuff.
I can't imagine ever spending this much money on an RV, on not a real house.
I had a question. So this was so he ends up buying like $1 million RV, and that was his budget the whole time. How much money do you have to spend $1 million in RV? Like, how much do we think this person is worth? That I was wondering that the whole time.
I don't know, dude. I just can't ever imagine spending that much money unless you're like John Madden, where he doesn't fly.
Wait,
John Madden.
Yeah. So you didn't know this? John Madden. He doesn't fly. He just drove in an RV everywhere.
Yeah. Good reference. At first, out of the blue, I'm like, wait, what? But
yeah, don't laugh at me.
No,
talking RVs, John Madden's gonna come up.
I will always laugh at you, Chris.
You are right. He was like notorious for having his pimped out RV because he would never fly.
Why is the show not called John Madden's Going RV? So you get that.
I mean, that show might be a show. I wouldn't rule it out.
Well, I think John Madden is dead.
What?
Oh no, he's alive.
What? I was gonna say, what just happened?
Noah, go on.
Oh, no.
I was like, I missed this news.
I thought he died. Yeah, no, he's 84 though. Good for him.
Yeah, but like you've got the Madden football game. You reuse that same thing, the Madden RV. He might have a RV brand. We don't know.
I'm going in the corner about Madden, but to VJ's question, I would say about 10x.
10x.
You would spend 10% of your worth on this freaking RV, which this person, just to be clear, was not gonna live in it. They were just gonna party it up in it. So I think this person was just taking this RV to tailgates. That was their kind of main intention for it. I don't think this person's driving it really far.
I think you got to take it to more places than tailgates. Like he was talking about having like just ragers. Like I don't think that the tailgate is going to do that because you have to go into the game at some point.
Is this where we got to talk about the 4-person shower?
Yes.
The second
next
RV
one we saw was American Heritage 44-foot 3 slides with Bose speakers and a 4-person shower for $860,000.
They seem to really emphasize the 4-person shower, and that's like Angela and Rudy just seem like real D-bags, and this is one of the reasons why.
I had so many questions. Like the one thing, particularly about the 4-person shower, it did not look big enough to be a 4-person shower.
Like they both fit in there pretty comfortably.
2-person shower seemed reasonable for me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can fit another person there.
It's just an odd way to describe a shower. Like a normal shower in a home can probably be called a 4-person shower. It would just be weird.
No. They had multiple shower heads in there now, so that's what makes a difference, right? A normal shower in a home, one person's cold the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fair. It's a good point. Yeah. These two people really just wanted to party in this RV, and that's what they're spending the money on.
One person is spending the money on.
How much do you think an RV keeps its value?
Not well.
Not well?
So as we see, the next RV we see is the Prevost, 45-foot, 24 speakers for $975,000, and that's half the price of a new one. So not well. I don't know how old that one is, but it's not a house you bought for $975,000 that stayed the same or doubled. Mostly, if you buy that, it doesn't half the value, or more, because they bought it for half the value. So when the other person sold it, they sold it for less.
Right. Was it like, it's clearly like a car in that if you buy it new, it loses a ton of value. If you buy a used one that's half the price and it's only, I like that the salesman was like, this one's only 975,000. It's like, oh,
Always said
only.
only. Always.
Like, does that actually keep its value pretty decently? Or is it because, the TVs get old and like all the stuff about it gets old? It's just like, it's worth like, you spend $1 million on it and it's worth like $200,000 like in 3 years. Is that how the kind of thing works?
Yeah,
I think it'll keep some value. I think it'll work more like a car scale. That like once the car value gets half, like maybe it'll perform a little better than cars. I know like most are, they mentioned it in the show at some point too. I think most RV sales are for used RVs. But yeah.
Who's buying them new?
I'm looking up right now. They hold their value a lot better than a car. Like roughly what I'm seeing around the internet is at the time of resale, if there's still new ones being sold, it's roughly 20% less than the lowest price new model on the market.
Very reasonable.
I wonder how they compare to like trucks, right? So that's really what would be more comparable, where like they're super expensive, they're kind of built for lasting longer.
Do you mean like Mack trucks or like a Ford F-150?
Or
like,
a Tonka.
What sort of truck are you talking here?
Like the giant truck.
Okay, like a big boy towing a trailer or tractor trailer truck. Got it. Yeah. Very similar.
Right.
But it doesn't appreciate in value like you would if you would buy a house generally.
Correct. It does not appreciate. It only depreciates.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's huge maintenance on it.
Yeah, that is the thing. Like all the little like screws and like just like the custom fitting of every little nook and cranny. I have to imagine you're always like tightening something, replacing
But
something.
insurance must be expensive too.
I'd imagine. Oh, look it up. RV insurance.
How do you think it compares to the taxes of like a home?
That's a good point. Some
Yeah.
places have taxes on like your vehicles and stuff. So
I mean, parking
Could
is
be.
not cheap. I think like the insurance must be expensive. Like you total
It's-
$1 million RV,
Yeah.
it's bad news.
like it's very similar to a boat, and like you're just throwing money away, really. So you got to really
It's sort of
like
yacht
this.
situation.
You got to really want an RV for some particular reason that you're going to get value out of it. Whether that's like, you're going on vacation with it, or you're going to go party in the tailgate section with it, or, something like that. I don't know. Seems more reasonable rent, but that's just me.
Insurance
Renting
actually,
is really expensive. Like I know people, like if they want an RV for a year, instead of renting it, they'll just buy one and then sell it at the end.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're going to rent it for a year, sure. Like try to rent a car for a year. Like that doesn't work out at all.
I mean, people lease cars for a year all the time.
Yeah, well, that's a separate thing. You probably lease an RV for a year. Anyway, the guys picked the most expensive one because it's the most baller one with the imported leather, blah, 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 blah. We know how all these shows work. Well,
Big
they already
time,
bought this
Chris.
one, and so they just pretended to look at the other ones. So, like, it's all bullshit anyway. That's it. Anything else to say about the baller RVs? Would you want one of these RVs? That's the question.
Do I get it for free?
No.
Like,
If I how much money do I have? Like, am I spending 10% of my worth or 2%? If it's 2%, yes, I'm in.
Where are you going to go with this RV VJ if you buy one?
I don't know, to the tailgate, like I said.
To
Like,
the
it doesn't
Seattle-
matter where I go. Like, that's like a secondary problem.
Yeah, but if you spend 2% of your wealth to do nothing, then like, what's the point? Why buy it?
so Chris, We won't get into details on the pod, but VJ and I feel we've described to you the stroll of strolls, and we are definitely taking this RV on the stroll of strolls. Like that's, if we can get it for a reasonable price, we do it.
I mean, I could see. I mean, that'd be fine, but we also could just like not do an RV for that too, and that would also work out well.
It would work, but if we can get this, as VJ said, we get this for 2% of our net worth. Why not?
I think we have to sleep way more people. Like we can't just sleep 3 people.
Well, I'm not taking you on it. It's just me and Rob going because
I
you
mean,
didn't
that's
buy in because you clearly just said no, and Rob and I are the only ones saying yes. So you're out. You
I'm
can
out,
stand
I'm
under.
out. All right.
You can stand under the awning outside and watch a 36-inch TV. You, Chris.
That's what I'll do. All right, let's move on. So one of the things that was super weird in the first episode was that they introduced Edward and Joe, who customize old RVs by upgrading them. And we saw them upgrade some like TVs from the old CRTs to flat screens. And there was no like indication what the fuck was going on, other than they were doing this for a seller which was not introduced until like they showed up, other than some sort of time pressure that was put on them. I don't understand why this was in this episode. I was very confused.
I have 2 things. Firstly, I think like for what's the first show's name? Big Time RV. For Big Time RV, I bet you it's the same people, same stuff every episode, and that's kind of the connecting thread, right? So in every episode, they must do a little bit of RV upgrade section, and so we know the person who manages the company, that's the lady, and then we know the 2 actual people who upgrade the RVs. So like
Edward and Joe.
Right, exactly. So they're just expecting you to like, hey, for this week, the upgrade is blah, 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 the TV upgrade.
And the show description says this is all at one dealership. So I think, all these people, there's a thread of it's one, and like it really like didn't try to emphasize what, like, I couldn't tell you what the name of this dealership was, and the show description doesn't say it either, but like this is all part of their thing. Is they have salespeople, they have upgrade people, and like you're just seeing into the workings of
the whole
this
operation.
company.
Why didn't they upgrade the baller RV though? I feel like that's where you really make the money. You upgrade those baller RVs.
What upgrade did it need?
I don't know. Like that.
They probably already did the upgrades.
Turn that 36-inch TV into like a 80-inch TV. What are you doing?
It's 2014, right? Chris. They couldn't get 80-inch TVs back then.
I don't know.
I have a comment about the baller RV dude, though.
Yeah.
Walk into the first RV, and the one guy says, "I don't like how it's all fancy," or "I don't like how it's all nice. It's feminine." And I'm like,
really?
It's just nice. Like that's good.
He said like something about like the growl, or like the trim or something. The trim. You know, like the trim.
Like the words he used were weird. He was just like, "I don't like how it's like," and he used a positive word, and then he's like, "It's just feminine," and I'm like, "I don't like, you don't like nice things. Like, what is wrong with you?"
He's got a lot of toxic masculinity, VJ. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, he's trying to show off that energy through his RV.
But like, just to be clear, like the last one didn't really seem that different in the stylistic approach for the RV either. So like all his toxic masculinity is just like, oh, it's a bigger check that I'll have to cut.
Yeah.
But it's also the status of who made it.
Right. Yeah, like
it's like
Rudy
we're
was
in
all
Burberry
about
clothes.
the Prevost. Like he was just like, that's what we got to get. I need that brand. It's all about the brand.
Right. The Prevost, because
all
the artists use that.
He already bought that before the show started. So like, let's be clear.
I would say maybe not, because these people seem so ridiculous. Where the show people would be like, no, we gotta record them because they're nuts.
I don't know. You're not having a film crew out there every day just to be like, oh, we're gonna film this couple. Hopefully they buy one, and then they hope they'll sign this NDA to be on the show. Like that's just not happening.
We'll get to it when we talk about the production schedule, Chris.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go to the dad and the daughter here. So they see 2 RVs, questionable RV. The first one is a 23-foot pop-up RV for $14,000. I don't know what a pop-up was before I watched this episode. I still don't, but I do know I don't want one.
I mean, I can explain it to you.
Yeah. Medium.
So okay, so like it's one of these RVs that you are pulling behind your truck or whatever, except it is about half the height of what you saw. It sort of has like tent sides.
Okay.
like
so
the
you
top
park-
half is all tent.
Yes. So the roof is solid, but like the roof is compressed down, and then you just like raise it up on stilts, and it has 10 sides.
So this is like who wants one of these? Is it like somebody?
It's way easier to deal with. Like there's a lot less restrictions. So you would want one, like if you're just going car camping, like you it's nice. Like it's easy to like tow. They're cheaper, obviously, as we saw in the show. So like it just like like who wants these? Like I mean that's like saying like who wants a Honda Civic? Like a lot of people.
It's also, you got to think about it on a continuum. Like there's tents and people like to go camping in tents. And then in between tent and an actual trailer RV, there's this thing, which is kind of tent-like, but a little bit nicer. And it's obviously more affordable than a full trailer, but obviously more expensive than a tent. Like it's just on the spectrum.
I guess, I mean, you're right. It's just in the context. So this dad already owns an RV. So this seemed like a big downgrade from
The dad already owned an RV?
Yeah. They're like, we want to
definitely
upgrade
own
the
an
RV.
But
Oh,
I
they
don't, their current RV might be a pop-up as well.
I mean, I don't know what the bathroom situation is in normal pop-ups, but that pop-up bathroom was
You're taking
boy.
a shit next to your oven. Like it's gross.
no bueno. That was it was like, you just can't use it. Why have it? But anyway, the next RV, they see an actual RV, and it's pretty nice. It's I don't really have anything written down about it, but they picked that one because it's an actual upgrade over his other RV, and that I don't know if there's anything else to really talk about.
It was nice, yeah. I don't like. It seemed like a nice thing.
I thought like an RV like that would be kind of more expensive than it was. It was like 27,000. It seemed pretty reasonable for like.
I mean, there's no
place for
engine
them.
in it, right? So like, it's just like it's just a box that you're dragging behind your car.
Yeah, I mean, so were the ones in the second episode, in the second show we watched, and those were considerably more expensive.
Right. So we'll get to that. I have some questions about those ones.
So yeah, so like the first show was all in this like used RV sales lot, I'm assuming. The second show is all on this classic RV, like it seemed like they were selling new RVs that looked like classic.
Yeah. So
One
Go
of the
ahead.
shows says that 50% of their sales, or like 70% of their sales, something like that, is used. So I think that was the first show, and they I think they do both, but like majority of their sales are used. Like cars and stuff, right?
Okay.
Max, you had
Yes.
something. Sorry.
Well, the second episode,
Eh.
we've got Jackie spelled the worst way, and you've got Amanda,
How did we spell it, Chris?
Jaci.
Just see.
Okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. We see them do yoga terribly. Pretty sure that was the first time they've ever done yoga in their life. She's looking for a pool behind at $68,000 budget. She wants it light. She wants storage. So we see a bunch of RVs, a lot of RVs. I'll run through them. A 23-foot corner bed, where the bed was pretty small. They didn't like it. We saw a 16-foot new classic. The toilet was in the shower. Not great. 19-foot Serenity. She picked that one. And then we saw a 23-foot Serenity with a front bed. And that was all the RVs we saw for her. I don't know if anyone has any notes around the RVs specifically, because they were all kind of the same.
Interesting thing with her is she was very concerned about the length of the RV. And like, this one's 19 foot. Like, okay, 19 foot's okay. This one's 23 feet. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do 23 feet. Like, is 4 more feet really that? Like, you're dragging this giant thing behind your car, whether it's 19 feet or 23 feet. Like,
So I thought about that a little bit. So in the show, basically for her, they show her towing the RV behind an SUV and not a truck. And so the generally SUVs don't have the same towing capacity as a truck, right? So I think she might have been concerned about how much weight she can tow. And so like if you are talking about 4 extra feet, I don't know what that does, but like like 4 if you just take it proportionally, like you are talking about 20, like reasonable amount of more weight, right? Like 20% more weight. So like that's kind of where the concern might be coming from.
So you think it's more about the weight than the actual length?
Yeah,
I was thinking,
that must be correlated, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like there's also like if you go camping, like camp spots, like there's a certain length you can fit in there. So maybe that was on her mind, but like they never just explained why she was so concerned.
I just like the only thing that stuck out to me is like at the end they show her like towing it behind an SUV and not a truck.
I just assumed she didn't want to back up with it, but that was just me. That's what my concern would be, is actually like maneuvering a towable thing like that. Like I don't know how to do that.
That I think like it's like crazy hard enough at 19 where the 23s and making the difference, right?
So,
like that I think you're already over the hump.
I don't know.
So, Chris, I actually believe this topic of how do you maneuver with a trailer is covered in the episode of Canada's Worst Driver that we watched.
I mean, like I know the concept, but I've never done it. And I would like if you gave me keys with a car that's something to tow behind and go do something like. I don't feel comfortable because I feel like I'm going to hit something.
No, totally. That's like the biggest thing on my mind is like, especially with the motorized RVs, like
motorhomes.
Motorhomes, like it seems like a big learning curve just to get comfortable driving that mega bus all around everywhere.
Mega bus.
I remember watching some show where they like teach someone how to do that. Where like they buy an RV and then they're learning how to like drive it. I forget where it was.
Well, if you buy the big RV like the baller people, I think you have to have don't you have to have a different license for that? Don't you have to have like,
you think you need a different license to drive the Prevost?
I don't know. I think so.
Maybe.
Like you need
the reality is like if I get a big RV, like the baller one, I just want to drive her because like I want to enjoy like that I can chill while going somewhere.
You're taking a very intimate relationship, like intimate vacation with your driver at that point.
No, the driver gets to stay at a hotel.
Yeah.
No one gets to stay in the RV.
Driver staying at the Four Seasons.
I got an update from the Internet Corner. You don't need a special license to drive most motorhomes if you're driving any vehicle under 26,000 pounds, and most RVs are. You're clear to drive with a regular driver's license.
Okay. All right.
Insane.
Good to know.
I think given how many people in America do it, I'm not surprised about that.
Well, it's just like if you drive a bus or something, like you need the class 2 driver's license or whatever. So,
I think that's more because you're driving other people.
I don't know.
I mean, you can drive other people in that RV.
Yeah, but it's all like private, right? It's
But if you bought a bus and turned it into an RV, do you need the class 2 driver's license?
Probably not.
All right. Should we go over the last people we saw?
No, I have some comments about what's her name? Jackie.
Just see.
Jesse. Firstly, when they're showing the two friends, they do this one photo of them that seemed like it was 20 years in the future. So they both look 20 years older in that photo. And I was like, what just happened? Was the whole thing a flashback? Like, what's going on? I was very confused.
Took them that long to get this episode out.
Right. That's one. Then the second thing I had about that is also that she talks about this being her first home. And I think Chris disagrees with that. Or Max disagrees with that. I forget.
Yeah. Okay, so she decides to buy this home and says, like, this is my first home, you guys. I mean, yeah, but also it's not the same when it's like a $70K trailer.
But flip side of that, Max, my argument would be like, I know people buy like houses worth that much. So like, what's the difference?
It's not the same. If you want me to put it into words, I can't, but you know and I know it's not the same.
So, like on a meta, I'm gonna switch topics here. On a meta level, so we look at the last family that we saw. They bought the $27,000 RV. and then we saw these people buy an RV for like 70,000. What is the upgrade here that they're getting for 70K versus the 26? Is it just the classic look?
So
No, they already had a classic look.
So the classic look part, you're talking about the people, the dad and daughter
Yeah, versus Jackie.
Right. Yeah. So the one thing I know, they kept saying the retro look, classic look. These are Airstreams. This is a very particular brand who makes these silver shiny things that is like a very, very popular caravan brand. Like they're like quite like iconic basically. So I don't understand why the show never talks about that, even though
I
like,
can
the
absolutely
Airstream
tell
logo-
you why. It's the same reason that MTV never says Twitter or Facebook. They say social media. It's they don't want to pay licensing fees or whatever.
How come they don't ever blur out the Airstream logo then?
I don't know.
The Airstream logo
But-
shows up on the screen at least like 30 times, I feel.
I completely agree. And retro style means one thing, and it means Airstream. You're completely right on that. I don't know why they
Well, I
insist
don't know
on
if,
what
like,
they say.
I don't know if there's like non-Airstream brands that also make that look. Like there must be some knockoff brands after all these years, right?
Probably.
But
I don't know.
yeah,
I always thought of Airstream as like the retro brand. Like it's just what it is.
right. But like,
You're saying you're
part
paying,
of the upgrade is that's definitely part. I'm not saying that's the whole thing, but that's definitely part of it.
I don't know. I mean, it definitely seemed like a better trail, like RV. So it is what it is, but is it worth double the price? More than double? I don't know. I guess you'd probably have to go in and look at them. We didn't really get a good look at any of these, to be honest, even though they're like super small.
And we don't really know how many miles they're rated for. I bet you the Airstreams, actually, I think one was used and the Airstreams were new.
I mean, if they're using new, then for sure, that's
Right. I think that's the case because like I think the dad and daughter buy a used one, whereas the Airstream buyers they're buying brand new ones.
Yeah, the dad and daughter definitely bought a used one. I didn't know if Jessie was buying a new one or a used one. So if she's
Yeah,
buying a
she's-
new one. That explains a decent amount of the difference.
Yeah, it's very unclear. But like they were at the same place and they were seeing relatively the same size RVs, but some of them were vastly different. Like in terms of layout, and like one had a king size, one like queen size beds versus single beds, and like just like very confused on like why they're so vastly different layouts going on.
I feel all the ones Jackie saw were kind of similar. Like, I feel like they were all kind of in a similar. Like there was one she saw that was significantly cheaper, and basically they rejected it almost immediately, and it wasn't even really in consideration. All the other ones she saw were about the same price and similar-ish kind of layouts. I found.
The one they didn't like had the bathroom in the shower.
Yeah, shower, toilet, wet room situation.
Yeah, and they're like, nope, we're leaving.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the Bryn family. So it is a couple. Well, they have a daughter in senior in college. They wanted to upgrade from their old RV. Their budget was $100,000. They wanted windows and more space. They saw a 25-foot model, which was 77 grand. Which had some pluses and minuses. I don't fucking remember. And write down. We got 27 foot class A for 74 grand. And then they had a 30-foot 92 grand RV they saw that they liked. And they picked that one. I'd ask Rob, what is a class A? I did not understand while I was watching the episode.
I don't really know. It was clearly a certain model of RV that these people who are more familiar with RVs recognized right away. But what makes it a class? I don't know if it's similar to like the Airstream thing, like it's just a brand, but I don't really know.
I can talk about this.
Go,
It
Max.
is not a brand. It is okay. So imagine in your mind an RV. For some of you, that may be a thing you pull behind a truck. For some of you, it may be sort of like a bus, but it's like equipped with a bunch of cool shit. It is the bus. It is sort of the self-propelled, standalone RV.
Okay,
Like
question.
a motorhome.
Is the Prevost considered a Class A?
Yeah.
I don't know the Prevost well enough to tell you. I only know what a Class A is because directly before we watched this show, I went to polsborv.com to learn about pricing on RVs.
But the definition you gave is if it is self-driving, it is considered
Yes.
a Class A. So therefore, the Prevost, by that definition, is also a Class A.
Yes.
Yes and yes. I looked it up. That's what they implied on the show, and then I looked it up. That is what it is.
Got it.
The Prevost is a class AAA, Rob.
Oh, I see.
I was also expecting it to be like Class A is like entry level, then they have like, you know, higher, like it's just Class A just means that it can drive itself.
Got it.
I've only ever been in a Class A RV. I've never been in a Class Z
Trailer?
or trailer, whatever you want to call it. Pop up. I've never been in any of those.
I don't think I've ever been in an RV.
All right. Who has actually been in an RV?
I have.
Anyone else?
How was it?
It was actually pretty good because I went to Disneyland with it.
Oh shit.
Disneyland?
Wait, is that the one in Florida? Which one's the one in Florida?
Disney World.
Oh,
World,
you know,
yeah.
you know what? I have briefly been in an RV at Sasquatch the year that there was a there was like this garbage truck that you could ride as like the back of it would rise into the sky. It was really fun. I was really drunk and I don't remember being in the RV that much, but somebody invited me in their RV and I had a drink and then I went on my way.
So I've stayed in an RV a couple times. I went on vacation a couple times with my parents in an RV. But my favorite time is I went tailgating in an RV. That was super fun. Highly recommend tailgating in an RV because you always have a place to stay. You're like up and ready to tailgate. As the sun comes up, you're ready to drink. It was the most fun. If you're gonna do it, that's the place to do it.
I have two things. One, I've been in an RV very, very shortly. I went to like one time in college, we went to the mall and they were having like some sort of RV convention or something. Like, I don't like, there was just like a large amount of RVs parked there. So we were just going in and out of them, checking them out. And
So
then
you were in the
second,
show.
I was just walking around checking out what the situation is. And secondly, I can't believe, Chris, you just gave us how fun it is to tailgate in an RV after just hating on the RV buying for partying for like an extended period of time not that long ago.
Well, I don't think you need $1 million RV to do that.
I mean,
You don't, but like if you
Definitely not.
can, like it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't understand what your point is. Your point is like, oh, this like, hey, we have no clue how much like what is
I
value
just
for
have a
money in the
hard
RV world.
time. Like I like spending that kind of money on an RV. That's just
totally
that's where my
understand
head's
that. But like, imagine yourself 20 years ago. Are there things you are doing today that you spend money on that 20 years ago you would have been like, I can't imagine spending that much money on that dumb activity that I do enjoy.
I don't think so.
Then you're not
That's just a lie.
That's a lot. Yeah, like you
Like
should, you should like have that perspective now because that means like you're growing and like
So that
Seeing
I
things
spend
going.
money frivolously. I don't like what.
No, it's not frivolously. It's just something you thought was frivolous 20 years ago. Just to be clear, when you were a preteen
I don't know.
or teenager for you, I guess maybe.
I don't know. I don't know where
13,
this line of
right?
questioning is going down.
Chris, I think if a preteen you had found out how much you spent on the mics and the soundboard, I think they would have been like, that's nuts. Just for one example.
I don't know. Like, you know, when you're that, like, you assume you have money, so you assume you could spend money on, like, I didn't when you could say a one-time cost of like $400, like frivolous. Like, if I was going golfing every like week and spending hundreds of dollars on that, then sure, like I'd probably have not pictured that. But I don't do
We
that.
just have to wait 20 years until you start going golfing.
Yeah. Wait till I get an expensive hobby, and then we'll see.
Chris will definitely
you
be
have-
golfing in 20 years, so it's guaranteed. I
Chris,
see it
don't you-
already.
Did you tell me you spend a bunch of money on Legos, which is an expensive hobby?
I mean, sometimes, like, but it's not like every week.
But 13
He's not buying an RV every week.
But like a 13-year-old me would definitely might consider like spending money on Legos like something you'd actually want to do
Yeah,
versus like
13-year-old Chris would definitely approve of 33-year-old Chris spending a lot of money on Legos. Passes the bar.
I don't
So,
know.
That might be true. I want to get back to this. It's only a problem if you do it every week. Like if I buy an RV 1 week, I'm not spending money on an RV every week. Like that's
I
the
did
same
well.
argument.
I would if I bought an RV that was over like 100 grand or more, like or even 50 grand or more. I don't know. Buying an RV in itself, it just doesn't seem great to me unless I'm like quitting my job and going around the country.
But that's what that guy's doing.
That's not what that guy's doing.
It might be what he's doing.
It's definitely what he's doing.
He might want to do it in like 5 years.
I don't think so, guys. Like that dad that bought an RV, very reasonable. Like that's where he lives. He spent 30 grand on it. Like what? Like
That's more unreasonable. He's raising his child in an RV.
oh,
The dad is being a questionable dad.
well, we're all.
What
I
about
mean,
that
like,
part?
It's more about the fact that he had a budget and his daughter was like, yeah, but you got to buy this one that's like 50% bigger than your budget. He's like, yeah, sure.
What about that? Yeah.
That's no good.
I mean, we don't really know the real situation there. They already bought that RV, so like, that was the most stupid segment because they bought an RV for 27,000. They just filmed them looking at a completely unacceptable like pop-up RV, and you're like, what is
First,
this?
I'm not sure your conspiracy theories are like certified.
They're not conspiracy theories. That's how these shows are filmed.
You don't know. This show might be the exception.
Oh, okay. This RV show has decided that they're going to spend a ton more money on these shows just filming all the customers that come in hopes they buy an RV. Okay.
No. They don't have to do that, right? All they have to do.
Is what? Wait till
Like-
somebody buys one, then film them looking at other ones. Oh, that doesn't seem like the right way to do it at all.
No, they can just film people. Like a lot of the camera work seemed like they just had cameras like attached in the RVs. Like it just seemed like there was like just like footage from like security cams basically in the RVs themselves.
Wrong.
The interviews they can obviously do after. I agree with that, right?
I don't believe this at all. Does anyone have anything to want to say about the Bryn family? Talk about having their daughter and future like son-in-law going in the same RV, like on the same vacation with them. Do you see that ever happening?
Yeah.
Once.
Why not?
Why not?
I don't know. It's just
I like that the parents' names are Leaf and Deirdre, both uncommon first names in the U.S. Good for them.
oh, I didn't catch Leaf. I caught Deirdre.
Yeah, same. The one comment I had, which is very, very minutia, at the end they show them sitting outside under the awning and eating dinner or whatever.
No, it was
pancakes.
blueberry pancakes. Yeah.
But they're eating dinner on rocking chairs. Like eating dinner on a rocking chair, no table, is like my nightmare.
It's horrible. Yeah, the whole ending was a little off because they sequence it as they're playing cards, like enjoying their day, because that's what you do during the day. You play cards. But then they go out to eat pancakes, which is ostensibly breakfast. Like,
Or brunch. They're playing cards 11:30, eating brunch at noon. That seems reasonable.
no, they're old. They're not doing
They're-
nude brunch. They're like,
But,
They're not
but old might mean that they're doing 9 a.m. cards.
yeah, I just don't. They're eating breakfast.
They
at like
wake up at
6,
4
7
a.m. because they bought the Airstream with huge windows.
They
Right.
talk about Windows so much.
He did want windows.
Right.
I-
And so
I
they,
was
they have to wake
surprised.
up with the sun. Like there's no option for them.
Right, so they're getting
And
up early. And they're eating.
They get up
They're not
early,
playing
then they
cards
eat a
before
couple of
they eat.
eggs, and then 3 hours later they play some cards, and then they eat some pancakes.
You can eat pancakes at any meal now. I had pancakes for dinner last week.
Well, what kind of pancake? Like a scallion pancake?
No. They were keto pancakes.
Keto pancakes. So you're doing like a breakfast for dinner?
Yeah, I was just like, I want pancakes, and I eat pancakes. I'm an adult. Maybe that's something 20-year-old. When I was 20 years ago, I would be like, I would never have pancakes for breakfast or for dinner, and I had pancakes for dinner.
Really? This seems like the opposite to me. Like 20 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, pancakes for dinner. Let's do it every night.
I don't know. It's hard to get in the
Reese's
mind
for
of.
breakfast?
Pancakes for dinner is just on Mardi Gras.
So this Brent family, they were like connoisseurs. They knew. They like walked in, was like, all these great windows. This is the front or the back. They were like, oh, this is the front. This is amazing. So they can like look out over like.
Well, they've been using one for a long time, right? So like, of course, like they understand what they need.
They're pros.
So you think they sold their old? They have to assume they sold their old one, right? And
Right.
But
They-
they
they're
did a
buying a
trade
new
in for sure.
maybe they were going to give the old one to the daughter so that she can
No.
like.
Nah.
No. Oh, it seemed kind of reasonable. All right, ready for questions? Ready for
Let's do
questions?
Do it.
What's reasonable to just like hand your daughter like a $60,000 present for no real good for like as a graduation gift?
I mean, that dad from the first episode would definitely do that.
Actually, before we
Sure.
get to questions, I have more a meta question
Yeah.
about the first episode versus the second episode.
Okay.
Which one?
And by episode, you mean show.
Yeah, I mean they're episodes of different shows. Which show? I guess we get to it at ratings. So I'm just kind of curious which show
Let's
people
get it-
like better.
Let's get to it in ratings.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do who's the worst human being? I think
Rudy.
Rudy? Who's
No
Rudy?
question.
Which one was Rudy?
Is he the Florida man?
Yeah, the friend of the baller.
Oh, because like the baller's name is Angelo.
Yeah, not Angelo. Angelo's up there, but the friend is above him.
Okay.
It's unclear to me because like I think the Angelo could be the one too. Angelo is the one who makes the unnecessarily sexist comment on the TV show,
I mean, Angelo did do that.
right? So like it's a toss up. Those two people, they seem like similar people, so they're not great.
What
Rob.
about the dad? Is the dad in contention?
No.
Or-
No.
Dad's great.
We talked about how making her grow up in the RV is not great. So
I don't know if he's great, but he's not on their level.
He's not making her grow up in there. It's for trips.
It was unclear to me. Well,
I think, he
Uh,
has, I think he has questionable parenting skills.
I think the worst person we saw today was the person who tried to sell them the RV with the toilet next to the oven. The salesperson.
it was not next to the oven. That is
Okay, so I'm sorry. It was next to a bed. Is that better?
It is better. Firstly, I would rather have it next to the bed than the oven. But then also like in the pop-ups, I think that those toilets are really a backup toilet. Like you're supposed to use like the campground toilet, and that's just like in case you needed one badly. at
I
some
mean,
point.
I agree, but that just shouldn't even exist.
But this is the thing, Max. It's a way for the salesperson to be like, there is no toilet. There's like, well, there's a toilet, and it's something you get to put a bullet point on the sales pitch. But like basically, you don't have a toilet inside. It's a tent. It's a
But,
very
like-
fancy tent.
It's wasted space.
Sort like, but when you need like if you're on a multi-day trip and there's a situation where you need to use the toilet, it is coming in handy. Like don't.
All right, we're just gonna go
Ooh.
with Angelo.
I'm with Max. Just like all the salespeople, they really weren't that useful. They could have add value. Like in the house shows, the real estate people, like they definitely add value. They are, in the elegant words of Chris, nothing burgers.
But we're
I mean,
talking about bad humans here. We're not talking about people just incompetent at their jobs.
I actually have one from my notes. So for the upgrade RV segment, Joe and Edwin, I can't remember who said it, but they said, I would love to grab her and strangle her. That was not
Oh yeah, they were
Not a
like,
good
if
thing.
this were a guy, I would strangle them. Something weird.
But now we can't do that.
Who said that? I don't remember who those people were.
The guy's upgrading the RV, upgrading the TVs.
yeah, 'cause
Oh yeah.
she was just pressuring him a little bit, and that was a little unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, so to your point about the salespeople, Noah, I feel that when you're in a house, there's so much room. The salesperson could be in there, show you the house. The RVs, there's not enough room for them to be in the RV, so it's hard to do the same job.
No, you're trying to find out your customers' wants and match them to whatever they're looking for.
They already know what in both shows. They know what they wanted and what they purchased already. So I don't know. Moving on.
I mean, it kind of depends, right? Like in this case, actually, like compared to a real estate situation, like there's a lot more options, right? Someone walks in, there might be like 200 options on the lot. So then the salesperson is actually doing quite a bunch if they're narrowing that 200 down to like 7 for you.
Yeah, but does that mean they're better on this TV show?
No. They're just like, they're doing their job. They're decent at their job. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we're gonna go with Angelo, or Rob. What's that other guy's name?
Rudy.
Angelo or Rudy? Brian, go.
Rudy.
VJ.
Angelo, he makes the comment.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Angelo as well. No, what do you got?
Rudy's are going out of favor at this time. So
We got
Rudy.
2-2. Rob, what do you got?
I already said Rudy.
Oh, Max.
Angelo.
It's tied. They're both worse human beings. Moving on. There is no host, so this is an upgrade for all
What are you
the
talking
sales.
about? There's definitely a host.
Who's the host?
The announcer.
Right?
It's an upgrade for everyone on the show because this is their only show and the only show they'll ever be in. Wrong?
yeah, no, that is fair.
What's the most baffling or cringeworthy moment?
I mean, to me, it's pretty easy. It's like the toilet in the middle of the fucking RV. Baffling.
Yeah. It's cringy about watching those guys like in the shower. They're like, oh yeah, the shower. Like, oh, okay, we got to move on.
Every time Angela and Rudy were shown a bedroom was pretty cringeworthy.
Can we take a moment to talk about why do you need a king size bed in your RV? Seems like a waste of space. But we're buying
Hey,
a
well,
baller.
I know
RV.
somebody who's not using full usage of their 4-person shower.
Me.
Yes,
Yeah, I guess if you have a 4-person shower, you might need some extra room in your bed. I don't know.
exactly.
Exactly.
Brian, what about you? You have a cringeworthy moment?
oh, when they were so in the second show, Jackie and her friend were like trying to do yoga. That was just why bother with that? They were clearly not
Oh,
able to do it in any way. Like
I mean, Brian, having, being an employee of Lulu, obviously is very particular about his yoga.
it's just
I mean,
For those
I
not
agree with
in the
Brian.
know, Lulu means Lululemon.
Brian, it was definitely looked like that was the first time they've ever done yoga in their life.
yeah, absolutely. Just why bother? Like just bring us to the RVs. I don't care about the backstory.
I mean, I was kind of bored with just watching the RVs, so some backstory.
That was even more boring.
I think I'm gonna. Does anyone have minor minutia? Because I don't, so I'm probably gonna.
I mean,
skip
we
it.
talked about a few of them already. I don't know if we
Yeah.
know other ones.
Yeah.
Talked about this whole show is minor minutia. So, all right? Drinking rules. Anyone got some good drinking rules?
Drink.
Thanks, Max. Brian, do you have a drinking rule? I got every time they show you a new
Yeah.
RV, take a drink.
Solid.
On the first show, it seemed like they used the word lifestyle a bunch.
So drink every time they say lifestyle. I think you should drink every time they say RV.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit. Yeah,
I think you should.
You go, Brian.
Oh, I think you should do a shot when they show like the dining room situation and like the retractable bed. Like, oh, if there's a retractable bed.
Especially in
That's
the
way too many
second
shots.
episode, like that was every single RV they had to show the dining table turn into a bed. So that should definitely be in the list.
I think every RV does that. That's like
Yeah.
standard.
That's a
But they
standard
didn't show
RV.
it in the first episode, but they showed it every time in the second episode.
Every
So-
RV I've been in, which has been like 5 or 6 at this point, all had the dining tables turned into beds.
Right.
So for mine is every time they mention the size of anything, take a drink.
Lot of drinking when you see an RV.
A lot of drinking. It's always too big. It's too small. Look how small that is. Look how big that is. It's always about the size.
That's
All
a good one, actually. There are a couple that were very specific to the episodes. I don't know if they like every time Angela and Rudy said something kind of creepy, like you could drink at that, or every time that one couple talked about windows, like they
Windows,
did not
yeah.
stop talking about windows.
Those are good. So what do you think the production schedule is on this one? Rob, I feel like you had a pretty strong opinion on this.
Well, it comes down to like, do we think that like they just for the first one where it's like at this one like RV dealership, like they just have cameras there for 2 weeks just filming a bunch of stuff, like VJ was saying, and they just see which ones were the most interesting ones, and then they get the ones that actually make sales, they get them to interview them after, or like I actually don't know like how many days of filming do you think goes into getting like one of the episodes of these things?
I think you film. I agree with you. It's like 2 weeks, but I think it's filmed way easier than that. I think that over like a month or two, they like every time they make a sales, like, hey, do you want to make a couple bucks? Come back on this day to be on this TV show, and they come in, film it, and they move on. And it's all they already have all the customers pre-planned who they're going to come in for like a week or two. And then they get like a whole season out of that. I don't think they're like on the day this person buys one, hey, you want to be on this show? Like that's just, I don't think that's it. It's way easier to do the other way. So that's the way they're going to do it.
So the second show definitely is that, right? Like, there's not even a doubt. I feel like the second show definitely is doing that.
Doing what?
The way you're saying it, right? Like the
Yeah.
second show, they can, because like they're also like following the person before and after. Like that's the only way to make that happen is that, right? But the first show, they could like a bunch of the camera angles were just cameras installed in the RVs. They could just have those like running. Like no one needs to do anything. Then they can just edit it out. Like if someone ends up buying something.
You think they leave the cameras in after the sale, like accidentally, quote unquote?
I don't know.
For Angelo, yes.
I just don't think that you need to do that. I just think it's just easier to do the other way.
There's
I
also
agree with
this.
Chris.
Oh, go ahead, Noah.
No, honestly, I agree with Chris. I feel like this is very well planned, and they kind of like recreate as much as possible how they were actually shopping around for an RV.
Like these people could have seen the same exact RVs before and just like, what did you think of this when you saw it? Like that's all they really need. You don't have to like do a whole lot of pretending here.
So it's also the segment where it was the people upgrading the RV. Like that could have been filmed really any time. And then they have the fake drama of, oh, they're coming to look at it today. And like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they didn't come and look at it that day. Like you
That
don't
was
know
the
what they came.
worst. That was so bad.
But then the actual customers are only in it for like 10 seconds. And so you could have filmed that whenever. Like that would have been super easy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we're all pretty clear on how this was filmed.
Yeah.
Some people have different opinions. You should tweet at us if you think VJ's right. If you think they're filming same day.
I think they have footage from the same day. I'm not saying they're filming same day. That's different. I think they just have footage because they're just security cams inside the RVs. Then why not just use it? The question I had was like, how many sales do we think that one lot is making? Like, is it making one sale a day? Like, is it like I don't understand what the frequency of like RVs being put out is, because I think that would change it a lot.
Depends on the market, and it depends on. Oh, whoops! Sorry about that. I'm gonna say this place 3 sales a day. No, 2 sales a day.
I have no idea.
If
But
it's
I do
2
think
sales
that
a
there's
day,
a-
that means they can put out an episode from a day of filming, no planning required.
I think there's a
You're not
busy
wrong.
season and an off season. And I think that this is filmed like right after the busy season.
I'm just saying, like, if they are really making a decent amount of sales per day, then you really don't have to plan. You just show up and you just start doing stuff, and then
Yeah.
if there's just enough, like, then it's actually less planning to do it that way.
I don't think so.
Because there's nothing interesting about these people, so they aren't really choosing these people.
No, they're not choosing the people. I don't think there's enough people buying RVs to choose the people.
That's why I think like the pre-planning part makes it weird for me, because like if you were pre-planning the whole thing and this is the people you chose, like what is this planning?
When we watch
Like-
the other like house shows, they're also kind of nothing burgers generally. It's just
Oh, that's
you're
true.
there to see the house. You're not there. They're supposed to be nothing burgers.
It just seems weird. Like it's like you could, if you were really planning it out, you could plan it better.
It's just not. They don't care. The whole point of the show is to show the RVs. It has nothing to do with the people, really. Anyway, let's move on. What is the show's parents? Who inspired the show? I mean, it's obviously House Hunters, right? Like,
Yeah.
is there anything else? It's just House Hunters in an RV.
Well, is House Hunters an OG or did something inspire House Hunters?
I think House Hunters is OG.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't know what else to say besides House Hunters. Tiny House Hunters? Like
Maybe like Tiny House Hunters is definitely like on the same tree, but it's definitely like hey, we're gonna show very specific house hunting, which
this is specific house hunting in that they're on wheels and also kind of tiny, and yeah.
Which is not as fun as Tiny House Hunters. We'll get into that. All right. So if this is your first time, we're down to our favorite question, ratings. So we do a rating system where we stack rank against other reality shows where we have a top, middle, bottom tiers. And some people have tiers inside their tiers, which you will hear. And as we go around, I want you to give your rating for each show, and then maybe a general thing of comparing the two if they're in the same bucket. Brian, you want to go first?
Sure. So Big Time RV gets a middle third, and then the Going RV gets a bottom third. Going RV, I don't give a fuck about any of these people buying an RV. Like, they're boring as hell. Big Time RV, they're actually going to be balling, and like you can see like some awesome stuff. Even if it's like an older like in 2014 versus 2019, it's still more interesting.
All right, Vijay, what do you got for me?
I'd say both shows are the same exact show, and I even in this moment cannot tell which one was which in terms of the couples and the duos on the show.
Okay.
And so I'll rank them together as bottom of the middle, because yeah, they were like whatever. There could be an interesting RV here or there, but like really not much happened.
I'm gonna go with Brian here. I think the first show was middle, and the second show was bottom. I think that they're pretty close to each other, but the second show had like a terrible tone to it. It was like, we're showing the classic RVs. We're gonna move this RV, this RV, this RV. We're not gonna say anything about it, and the people are nothing. And I was just like, could give two fucks about any of the RVs. You know how much we talked about any of the RVs in the second episode? Like, none of them, because they all went by super quick. They were all kind of the same. Where the first episode was like I wasn't very interested, but I wasn't like trying to get on my phone away from it. I thought that it was I think another aspect of the first episode, which we didn't really talk about, is that it interspliced the different people together instead of like all one customer at one time. And I think that get me engaged more, whether that's good or bad. I mean, it's good. Whether you would like that or not is up to you. So that's kind of where I sit between the two. Noah, what do you got?
These shows are definitely House Hunters. It's like very early era reality. Like, there's not a lot with the production. Where reality today, right? There's really, the producers are trying to get a lot of ham. Man, I think unfortunately that means they're boring as fuck. So put them in the bottom, middle of the bottom.
All right. You don't have an opinion on which one's better? Pick one.
Ugh, they really are.
Pick
kind
one. Noah.
I'm gonna go with the first one because there's a little more variety.
There you go. Rob, what do you got?
I think both shows are pretty similar. I'm gonna put them both in the middle. They're kind of just, like, it was interesting to see like the different RVs and to compare them. But like you're right that it's not as compelling as like Tiny House Hunters. And I think because they are all kind of the same in various ways. If you're not buying a Prevo, I do think the first one's a little better. The second one felt much more like this is exactly House Hunters with just RVs, and it had the like super fake like let's recap what we think of each RV thing, which was a total like waste of time. But you did see more RVs and spent less time on them, as we said, which was kind of interesting. But then I overall they're both okay, but neither one is that great.
Max, what do you got for me?
I'm yawning because of how boring these were. Both of them are going. Actually, okay. Big Time RV is going to be bottom third, top of the bottom. And then Going RV is going to be 1/9 better than that. So that means it's going to be middle tier, bottom of the middle. The reason for that is sort of what you brought up, Chris, about the ordering of the show. Big Time RV shows a little bit of person A, a little bit of person B, a little bit of person C, comes back, rinse, rewind. That's not the term, you know what I mean. And then the second show, it just focuses on one person, takes care of them, on to the next person. That was slightly better, but otherwise they're the same fucking show, except the first one had Orange County choppers in it for some reason.
Okay. Yeah.
What's this
that is-
Orange County Choppers thing? Can someone tell me what's going on?
Are
here?
you familiar with the show?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of the original, hey, we will take a car, or in this case, a motorcycle for you and customize it. And you get to come back and see how it went.
So
It's
Pimp
sort
My
of
Ride?
Max, the original one of that is called Pimp My Ride. What are
Yeah.
you
So I
talking
was
So-
going to say that. It's
yes,
different.
yes and no.
It's like a offshoot of Pimp My Ride, but it's like people legitimately paying for like cool motorcycles instead of people giving their car to like some weirdo that made their car unusable.
Right. So I think I guess Diesel Brothers, is that a show we've seen?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
a show.
is.
Yeah, Diesel Bros is very much Orange County Choppers. Maybe we have to add that to the list.
You
Yeah.
should do Orange County.
It's, professionals taking a vehicle and making it better and not being named Exhibit.
Yeah, but I would say like Orange County Choppers really is the grandparent of like Vanderpump Rules and Below Deck. Like what they I think really did was not just show how they did their job well, but it was the drama and culture of the business, which grew many trees and branches and leaves in the reality world.
And roots and seeds and fruits and flowers. Like, what's going on here?
There's a whole fauna and flora classification.
All right, Rob, are you ready for the shout
ready.
out? We need the
I'm
shout
ready.
out. Give me your shout out.
So last week on The Masked Singer, we only had three competitors. There was the Sun, the Popcorn, and the Snow Owls, and they're all pretty good. So it was tough, but the Snow Owls got sent home, and it was country singers Clint Black and Lisa Hartman Black. Who? I don't know.
Linda Lisa.
Did anyone guess them?
Yes. Who was it? Nicole Scherzinger guessed them.
What?
As everybody knows, English pop singers are very in the know about country singers.
Other than that, Rob, I think we have some big news.
Oh, there's
Rob,
big news.
What is the big news, Rob?
The Masked Singer Expanded Universe is expanding again. So we did the I Can See Your Voice show, which was terrible and had Ken Jeong. And now in December, there is The Masked Dancer, which I don't understand how that's a show. And Ken Jeong is involved. And you're going to hear it on this podcast. So look forward to that.
So question for you on that, or I guess in general, is this going to take time? Is it going to take place at the same time as The Masked Singer? Or is it going to be The Masked Singer ends and this show starts?
I think it's The Masked Singer ends and the very next week. Or maybe it's The Masked Singer will do 2-hour finales. The Masked Singer is going to end and the very next week there will be this show.
So this is a way for them to keep The Masked Singer going, but then not have the same fatigue of having the same show on all the fucking time by changing it slightly.
I mean, it's the same show all the time. What are we talking about?
So,
I have a
what are
quick
some?
side comment for Max.
Yeah,
Max, before you go, Nicole Scherzinger, born in Hawaii, raised in Kentucky.
you are correct. I noticed that the moment I said it.
Right.
Yeah,
She
you know
just
what it
dated a
is?
British person one time.
It's more like I associate sort of girl bands, of which she was once part of, with England, not the US. I am incorrect. I know she was like Pussycat Dolls or whatever.
Yep.
It was still a good comment, for what it's worth.
So here's a question about The Masked Dancer. What other forms of art can they bring the masked format to?
The Masked Painter.
I have some ideas. What about? So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for the arts. What about the masked chocolate maker?
What about The Masked Nailed It?
Honestly, the masked chef could be kind of fun. You know, they make their signature dish. They make their
Max.
trash can nachos.
Max, can we get you on the Masked Podcaster?
It would be very obvious. I would be the highest person there.
Would that show be better if everyone was nude?
The Masked Podcaster?
Yes.
Would that show be a podcast?
Yes. All right. Rob, do you have any other shout outs?
What about the masked architecturists?
Okay.
I have no other shout outs this week.
Masked house hunters would be cool. If all the people house hunting were celebrities.
And they were just going into these places naked? No way.
The masked celebrity Jeopardy.
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
The Mass Jeopardy. That could be interesting. I have a shout out. We were playing the new Jackbox Party Pack 7. Really good.
Amped up.
I think that it's got some of the best games in it in a while. It's got the best drawing game since TKO. It's got some cool co-op game. It's got some cool guessing game. I mean, I could do without Quiplash, but you know, people like it. So I'm gonna shout it out. Brian, you got a shout out?
Go watch the movie Buttman.
Why would you ever watch
I
a
like-
movie called Buttman? You better have been.
I really
high.
wanted to know Oh, absolutely. But that did not make it better. Like, this was legit bad. And I only watched it because of, like, randomly discovering it. I had to know why it was made. And I don't think I'll ever figure that out.
And is this a show on Pornhub Premium?
No, this is an Amazon Prime movie.
I see.
Same thing.
Noah.
This is a Prime original?
Yeah,
Definitely
I'm pretty
Prime.
sure.
No.
I'm just gonna give a shout out to my church. John Oliver wrapped up another season. Always bringing it good. Thank you, John Oliver.
Max, you got a shout out?
Shout out to my mom. Great lady. Keep it real.
All
Thanks,
right.
Pam.
VJ? Do we go to VJ?
We watched. I finished Queen's Gambit, and that was really enjoyable. I think that was mentioned in the last podcast, but I finished it since then.
Based
And
on
then-
true story, right?
It is not based on a true story, despite what I believed while watching the whole show. So, Lee and
I
I
thought it was
watched the
based on a
whole-
book.
It is, which is not based on a true story.
But Liz Harmon didn't exist. No sort of Liz Harmon person existed.
Exactly. And so we were watching it the whole time, and then during the episodes we were discussing, like, do you think they changed it, adapted for the show? Do you think this was real? And then, we watched the whole 8-9 episodes, whatever it was. And then 20 minutes later, Leah's like, well, so that show wasn't based on true story. And I'm like, what do you mean? My whole life is a lie now. So that was an interesting way to look at it. And then over the last 3 nights, we also watched the one and only season of Watchmen. And that was really enjoyable.
Hell yeah.
Good show. Solid. That's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter at whobithisan. You can find us on facebook.com/whobithisan. You can email us questions and suggestions at whobithisan@gmail.com. See you guys next time. I can't unmute Noah. It's not letting me.